An eagle, Murray.
Yeah, I see it.
There's a nest up here with.
Is he up in there?
Yeah, we're gonna go right under the nest. So what we're going through today is one of the last remnants of the swamps that used to dominate this area. So at one time there were 100 miles or more of cypress swamp around New Orleans. So when a hurricane would come, this was a great buffer. When the city was first built, storm surge had 100 miles of marsh and swamp before it hit the city. And as we developed the area, drilled canals for oil and gas, put levees on the river, we cut off the river from this delta, and so all this is now dying, which is it's right here.
Yes,
Just beyond the lawn.
It looks like a stick. Oh! During Katrina, the city was flooded not by the storm, but by these levees that were improperly built by the Corps of Engineers. That's proven. Since then, the country has spent $14.5 billion rebuilding the levees around New Orleans, but they've been built to a standard lower than they were supposed to be built back in 1965. So we have the best levee system we've ever had, but it's still not what we should have to protect us from serious hurricanes. These levees are built for a 100-year storm. The Dutch build their levees and storm barriers to the 10,000 and 40,000 year storm. So we're safe if we don't get a really big storm. If we get something big, we could be in bad shape. And that's why we need to rebuild our wetlands and to nourish what we have left, because they are linear levees. They absorb storm surge, knock it down, and protect our levees. We used to have 100 miles of wetlands in front of our levees. Now those levees are basically on open water facing the Gulf of Mexico.
This way we're going to be in an actual natural bayou, with the natural part that was not interfered with by humans. And you'll get to see the difference between a canal, which is a great highway to bring a storm surge into the city, and a lazy bayou, which protects the city from storm surge and from wind. We used to have this kind of swamp in 80% of what is now the city, and for hundreds of miles around the city, providing incredible protection from hurricane winds and storm surge. Now that we've lost it, we're in a precarious situation, and we really can't continue without repairing these wetlands.
So this whole part of Louisiana, we've lost 2,000 square miles already, and we're now considered the fastest sinking large coastal landscape on the planet, according to NOAA. And that means we'll have the highest rate of sea level rise of any place in North America, because we're sinking at the same time the sea is rising. To come here is to understand what this area was like even 30 years ago. And we've lost all this that should have taken hundreds of years. We've lost this in a single human lifetime, about 70 years. And we won't be here if we don't protect and restore this area over the next 70 years. Am I optimistic it'll be saved? I'm optimistic it could be saved. I'm not optimistic it will be saved. Now that plan we have is $50 billion over 50 years. And you're probably wondering why we invited you on this trip today. We know that you're wealthy people from up north. And you're not going home unless we get part of that 50 billion. So we'll send out the ransom notes to your children and grandchildren.